Judah said he's thinking of this as round 13. He says he'll start faster tonight, be more aggressive. He did not get off to a quick start in the first fight, saying he lost focus when the bell sounded. Told us he'll be extremely focused tonight because there's no tomorrow.
The interesting thing about this match, and it really fascinates me, is even though Zab Judah is the man that's come up from junior welterweight, and Cory Spinks is a true welterweight, even Spinks kind of acknowledges that if this is a brawling, punching match, it benefits Judah. So that's fascinating. And Judah made a very interesting point to us. That fight with Spinks was his very first as a welterweight. He's had a couple since. He's more comfortable with this weight. We'll see if that's a big factor.
Spinks not normally a torrid starter, but he was very aggressive and assertive early in the close unanimous decision over Judah last April. Spinks started faster than usual. Says he's not thinking about that 12th round knockdown that really cost him the first fight. Talked about Judah's focus. What about Spinks? Could his game plan go out the window? The result of this overwhelming crowd really trying to please everybody. Here's Judah going to work with the long left.
True to his word, Judah is making this fight right now. It's not that there's enormous action, but for the most part, Judah's pressing the action and trying to get to Cory Spinks, especially with that left hand.
Another thing about Judah, known for his showboating and shenanigans, he has been all business. No messing around. He knows the significance and the magnitude of this event. Judah says, I am here to take. I'm going to Spinks' backyard because I am from Brooklyn. That is what we do. I am from the home of the taking state. Well, Brooklyn's not quite a state, but it feels like one. It's big enough.
Well, you're Brooklyn, right?
My hometown as well.
So there on the inside, you see Cory Spinks landing a hook, but getting right out. Spinks is a good counter puncher, but he hasn't been able to counter punch as well as he'd like so far in this round. Very close round. But not one like the first fight in which the Spinks jab has controlled it.
Judah has been the aggressor here with 30 seconds and counting in round one. Spinks from the tough north side of St. Louis, known as the Water Tower area. Used to be very wild when he lived in the city, now more grounded with a wife and daughter. Final seconds of the opening round. Nice left hook upstairs, nice left hand upstairs by Judah.
No, come on, time!
Party time, baby. Yo, you're doing beautiful. You know what I'm saying? You got this. You know what I'm saying? Now you got what you gotta do. He gonna come out moving and running. You gotta cut him off that and go to the body. This is a breakdown process, all right? Breakdown. Keep touching him. Yeah, here. Out, go. Go. All right? Keep touching him. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're gonna grip him. I'm telling you. Keep your hands up how you go. We get a side stake.
Working, getting your rhythm, slipping and sliding, getting your rhythm. All right? Keep turning, stay in the center of the ring, keep turning. All right?
When you come right, a little wide, come wide.
Right? Quick 1, 2. All right?
Kevin Cunningham, a former St. Louis policeman, former Army boxer, opened a boxing gym in the basement of an old police building. A longtime trainer of Cory Spinks. Spinks has nothing but respect for Cunningham.
And you know, in the case of both these fighters, obviously Yoel Judah, Zab's father, he has great faith and trust in him. And as you pointed out, Kevin Cunningham, almost a father figure to Cory Spinks. And they both have confidence in their cornermen, and that's important. Also, Kenny Adams, former Olympic head coach for the United States, in the corner of Cory Spinks, adding a good hand there as well.
And a great cut man in Jim Strickland as well. So round 2, Spinks misses.
When Spinks ducks in like that, and that's one thing they don't want him to do, that's when he gets close enough and short enough for Zab Judah to do some good work on the inside. And we have seen less of the Spinks jab here than we saw in the first fight early on. He's not doubling up with it as much as he did then, and I think that's pretty important for him to do.
Come on, punch out
Hooked
now.
on Judah, speedy, elusive, versatile southpaw, like Spinks, quick-handed, a lot of movement. The hand speed may be equal here. Zab may have the edge in foot speed. A lot of boxing ability. Tremendous reflexes, makes you miss, so slick and slippery. But then so is Spinks, who's an excellent defensive fighter.
Let's go, come on,
And part of the balance edge goes to Cory Spinks. And we saw Judah knocked down during the first fight, primarily because of his balance. I mean, you've done many of his fights, of course, here at Showtime, and you've seen him go down because of that balance issue. You like the first fight, how many punches are being missed. So many were missed in the first fight in the first 5 rounds, and that was more a testimony to their defense than lack of offense, and the same could be said right here. It took them a while to find the range in that first fight.
Spinks really makes for entertaining fights, almost turns it into an art form. Tremendous hand speed. Most people, of course, like watching big punchers, but Spinks, I guess you could say he engages in battle enough to make it interesting. But by no means is he a big puncher, but an outstanding technical fighter. The ring is his office. He's so confident, so relaxed.
Let's go, come on, let's go.
Spinks working on the inside where Judah wants to be. Judah's been very inactive in this round. This is one of those rounds reminiscent of the early part of the previous fight, and he's allowed Spinks to, I think, to take control of this round after a pretty good first round for Judah.
So round 2 of Spinks Judah in the books. Spinks versus Judah 2 here at Savas Center in St. Louis is a sellout. 20,655 paid, over 22,000 overall. The folks with the promotion claim both are records for a boxing event at an indoor arena, but it's being disputed by a few factions. Of course, there have been larger crowds at dome stadiums, the Superdome, the Alamo Dome, so it's kind of a nebulous stat, but it is the largest crowd ever in Missouri for a fight.
You need to stick with working a little bit more. You're letting him get in his range because you ain't using no jab. This is the job for the field, right? Just like that. He ain't throwing nothing but a left hand. You see that?
Round 3, one of the reasons for the great turnout. St. Louis sports fans really respect the way Spinks built his career here in St. Louis. Took no shortcuts, many modest paydays in small local venues. Worked his way to the top the old-fashioned way. He earned it. Interesting, though, despite his success, finding it difficult to get respect from the boxing world overall.
Kevin Cunningham, we heard him say to Cory Spinks, you're not using your jab. You've got to use that punch more. That was the jab from Judah. And they were talking about Judah's reliance on throwing that straight left hand, which he has tried to get in. Spinks looking to counterpunch as Judah comes in. You saw the uppercut there, but he's been unable to do that as effectively as he might.
Kevin Cunningham had a problem with the judges. 2 of them were from the East. Tommy Kazmarek and Joe Pasquale, both from New Jersey. Gary Merritt from Indiana. Kazmarek, highly regarded, one of the top judges in the East.
That's an issue, though. You know, there were 2 issues. One was the gloves, which you alluded to. It ended up being 2 Grant gloves being used, not Reyes for Judah. The Reyes gloves, presumably better puncher's gloves. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen, but boxing people feel. The second was 2 of these judges being from the East Coast. Kevin Cunningham was livid over that. Gary Merritt from the Midwest, he couldn't understand why there'd be 2 judges from the East Coast in this fight. But the administrator here, Tim Lukanov, said that, well, he had to deal with the list given to him by the IBF and the other organizations, and that was the best he could do. He didn't worry about geography.
Let's go, come on, punch out now.
Third man in the ring, Armando Garcia from Miami, Florida, before tonight. Probably his biggest fight was Roy Jones, Ricky Frazier in 1999. He did referee a couple of Joel Casamayor fights.
You know, they were on the inside there, and Zab Judah wasn't. Oh, there he goes. There's good work on the inside by Judah. Before, he wasn't willing to work on the inside. There he did.
Both have a lot of room in which to operate. A big ring, 20 feet 6 inches.
Very tough round to judge. This one is a real tricky one.
As we head for the bell, round 3.
Time!
You feel good? Excellent. Now, listen to me real good. You got to start getting a little closer now. You got to start putting 3, 4 punches together. Look, that little push jab. When you see him, that jab? Slip it. Look, listen to me. Look at me. When you see him start to push off, that fact, keep your head about. Once you in, don't. Let the hands go. All right, baby? Keep the pressure on,
Zab Judah, when he's on the inside here, you see he'll work on the inside and throw combinations, and that last right hook got there. That is the prototype. This is the prototype of what Zab Judah wants to accomplish in this fight. When he's in this posture, he can outduel Cory Spinks on the inside. He did that in the first fight.
Round 4 scheduled for 12 for the undisputed welterweight championship. Two southpaws, superbly skilled. Judah marching forward, but missed.
Cory Spinks is getting low a lot in this fight. Kind of getting himself low and putting himself a little bit in position where things can get to him. There's a beautiful left, but a counter right by Cory Spinks, so things are heating up a little bit.
Gets the crowd going.
Zab Judah is starting to close that distance. That's what Yoel Judah told him to do, and in this round, he's doing it.
Crowd exhorting their hometown favorite, Cory Spinks. This is their Super Bowl tonight.
See how Judah gets low, and it's very tough for Cory Spinks to get to him. Spinks really needs the uppercut as an effective weapon. He has an uppercut, but it's not the major part of his arsenal.
Spinks 34-2, 11 knockouts. Judah 32-2, 1 no contest, 23 knockouts. Spinks 9-0 in St. Louis.
There's some good work by Spinks on the inside, and
nice left hand by Spinks to the jaw of Judah.
He's starting to climb back in this round, a round in which Judah had kind of controlled it for the first portion of it. This last minute should determine who wins this round.
Don't forget, Spinks had Judah down in the 11th round of the first fight, although it was a disputed knockdown. Judah claiming that it was a slip. And then, of course, with 28 seconds left in the 12th, Judah put Spinks down. And if he had about 30 more seconds, may have won the fight. Which makes it so compelling and dramatic, segueing into the sequel.
This round is one that I think Cory Spinks took control of in the last minute. And maybe won in this round. And he's been more active.